get ready for another story of a plane crash. You may have heard about the Egyptian Air 804. Wait, that was last video, yes. So, check out the last video if you want to check out that plane crash. Anyways, on to this video. Hi everyone, my name is Alex, and welcome back for another story. And I'm gonna teach you some valuable knowledge about a plane crash. A plane crash. So, a plane crash is very interesting. First of all, you could basically just set it on fire, or second of all, it could explode or crash with something else, or maybe crash with a plane. And third of all, it crashes on the land or the water. So, these are the main things that could happen in a plane crash. So, get ready if you don't want one to happen. But anyways, now let's get ready for a plane crash story. Plane crashes, they are very rare and only happen occasionally. They don't usually happen because it's like 10 million chance. 1 in a 10 million chance. Like, you could actually sink in your bathtub. You could choke in your breakfast, or you could even go to a car accident. Like, a plane crash is even more rare than choking in a breakfast meal. It's very rare. But sometimes planes could go wrong. Some misunderstandings could go wrong, and some things could go wrong. That's why let's look at the story of the plane Delta 1141. So Delta 1141 was a normal plane. It was in Delta Fort Airport inside America in Texas. And it was a big airport with like 6 highways. So it happened very long ago, inside 1988, and there was almost 200 passengers on board and some crew and the pilots. The first main captain had a lot of training, but the second officer didn't have much training. He was quite young, same with the second officer as well. So as they were taking off, the crew were interested in a conversation. Yup, you heard that right, which is a bad idea. The crew should have been focusing more on the plane, but nope. They were still talking to a passenger. A passenger mysteriously said several things. I don't have the original audio voice, but check out some other videos that have the original audio voice of what they talked about. But anyways, I'm gonna say what they talked about. So the crew and the person talking to the crew, a passenger called Dexter, a woman. I don't actually know her name, but you can find that out yourself. So a woman was talking happily to a crew. The crew was talking about something strange, something very strange. So the crew and the passenger were interested in the talk. They said, you know, a plane crash, American Airlines 191 or something? And then they just said, yep, I know it. It exploded in the airport. And then they said a bunch of other plane crashes and how the people died. And then they also talked about crush. Yes, they talked about the dating scenes, and which is very weird because why would anybody talk about that on a plane? It's so sudden. It's so like, yeah, you know, there's a dating scene on that plane. So the man and the women are just holding hands until a plane crash comes down. They just like, yeah, I'm just gonna talk about that. And they also had several conversations more as well, such as about food, drinks, and birds. I have no idea why this is so strange. So the conversation went on. The crew wasn't noticing that much, and officers were also talking to each other. They thought that the flap controls were on. So they thought it was in a 15-degree angle, so they just, yep. And they didn't pull it. So if you want to 15-degree angle, it's like here, and you have to pull it to go it down. And they they didn't do that. Instead, they were also interested in a conversation with the officer and the crew. So it was a very bad situation. Especially in large passenger planes like this, they have to turn the flaps like this in a 15-degree angle because the flaps, if they, well, then the plane won't fly because the flaps is flat, which makes sense. And also, moreover, the wind that pulls the flaps, which makes the planes fly. So if they don't pull the flaps out, the wind just so the flaps make the wind stronger to make the plane fly and become stronger. So that is an important necessary thing for takeoff. But remember, they didn't turn it into a 15-degree angle. They're just like, la la la, let's go. And then they were just like, let's go. Let's just pull the trigger and then move. And so they moved, and then the plane just... So the plane was just on the highway, and the flaps weren't on, and so the plane turned on max speed and and soon it was about to fly, but then the tail struck because they were like a plane was like in this condition. So the plane was in this condition, so the tail would just and all the air would go out, and then it will tilt. First of all, the right engine. Next of all, the right engine wasn't on. The captain also didn't forget because that would lower the plane's, work or battery, I don't know, but it just tilts because it can't. First of all, the flap wasn't on, and second of all, the right engine, the third engine wasn't on. So it just slided like this, and when they approached the end of the highway, the captains were like, oh shoot, we're gonna crash. And so they just tilted and in the right way. So the third engine, remember, it wasn't on. So they just oof. And that's the plane crash. The plane crashed, near tilted, and then slided on the ground, crashed, and the fire and the flames spread out, making everybody captured inside the plane. And then everybody was panicking. And I heard a story of even one man even tried to save his wife, but eventually got burns and died, which is very sad. And all the people, just imagine, even though this plane didn't have many casualties, it only had 13 people died. Only 13 people died, including the passenger that talked to the crew about the plane crashes. And the crew wasn't noticing. And so the crew also died. That is so haunting. And remember, the hauntiest thing I found about this plane crash is that the passenger was talking about its fate before the plane crashed. It was talking about the plane crashes, and one day it just like, wait, we're talking about the plane crash, and the plane crash is crashing. So that's a very weird and haunting thing to me. What do you think? And moreover, let me tell you some more stories. 13 people died, but most were injured as well. Only a few made it out and successfully continued their mortal journey through their life. So it's a very sad plane crash, but it happened very long ago. Technology had improved, and because the plane wasn't that good in good condition, and it wasn't that modern and not fixed yet, there are a few things that came in error. First of all, there will be a warning when the plane is about to go and it's not ready yet, such as if the flaps are not on, or maybe its speed is weird, or maybe the controls are off. There will be a warning. It'll sound like a beep, 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 so the officer and the captains will know. But the signal, the sound beep, beep, beep didn't happen, which is a very weird thing. Some people decided to, oh, la la la, I don't care about this beep 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 thing, it's useless. So they just left it there, and it didn't work. And so the captains and pilots realized that the plane was having some problems, but it was too late and they crashed. And it was super early. They just took off. Yay, time for another plane. And some people were on vacation and they were like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then it crashed. That's all for the story of today of the plane crash. If you want to know more about the stories of plane crashes, I can tell you about it. There's also some more interesting stories about ships as well, and I'm very interested in ships and planes and also other topics. So that is my point of making this channel and to entertain videos for you. And also don't forget to subscribe if you want to. But anyways, that is all I have for today. It is a very simple talk about a plane crash, but you know what? It's very simple, but it's also very haunting and detailed. So, thank you for listening. Hope you have some more time for some more plane crashes that I have, and I can research more about plane crashes. I like to talk about plane crashes now because that's a weird thing. I like to see plane crash animations and stuff, but you know what? Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for the next story. Thank you for listening again.